What's up with Sean Baligian?
What up, this is Joique Bell here on the Baligian and Bell Show.
Make sure you check us out on the Woodward Sports Network. What up? How are you? Glad you could join us on a Tuesday morning. He is Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian. Joique, it's always great to have you back in the house. And it's not just any Tuesday, by the way. It's a
Transformation Tuesday.
Transformation Tuesday. Let's go.
Transformation.
You ready to go?
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you want to transform today? How can we do that?
We already I'm back. So we transform from Terry being here to me.
Ask a stupid question, right?
Get a stupid ass.
I'm here for stupid questions. I want to get right into this because this is fascinating to me. Something, and I think you'll appreciate this as a guy that spilled blood for this franchise, has heard every cat call about this franchise, has had to own pretty much everything about this franchise, okay? In case you missed it, Chris Spielman was on a local radio station, and Chris Spielman was talking about how they're having a lot of football meetings and everything. And Steve said, "What up, Doe?" Tank said, "What up, Doe? What up, Doe?"
What up, Doe?
Altown. So Chris Spielman came out and said that in all these football meetings, there has been somebody present in these meetings.
Yeah.
And you know who the person present is?
I can take a lucky guess.
I'm going to bet that you'll get this right. It's Sheila Ford Hemp. People have an issue with this. And I'm being honest.
When you say people, who?
I've seen, look on Twitter. People are saying, "Oh my gosh, here we go." You know, people are complaining that this woman that doesn't have anything to do with football is in on these football decisions. And Joique, I'm just going to say this. You know what?
Yeah.
If you're one of those people, you are actively, purposely looking for something to bitch about. You are. Let's just, we'll admit it, and we'll all move on. The Lions make it easy. Here you go. Now you can bitch.
What does Sheila Ford say when she took this job? What did she? When she got promoted to being the chairman and running this team, she said that she didn't have that football kind of sense. So she wanted to get football minds into the organization. Now, if you don't have football smarts, like, what do? You go around the people that do. And she's sitting in a meeting, not saying that she's making decisions, but she's learning. She can be in there learning, right? She can be in there learning, seeing their process, seeing how they work, seeing how they scout players, looking at certain things about players. They have a general thought about, okay, this is what they think when they do this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with her sitting there. I actually commend her on taking the initiative to be in that room to learn more.
Amen. Couldn't agree with you more, pal. I like what Steve said. She's changing the narrative of the Fords. Pick a side to me, Joique, to your point. What was it that people said about Mr. Ford all the time? He sits up in his ivory tower, and it's his little play toy. He doesn't give a bleep. He puts his boys in top. I mean, this was the narrative. He puts his boys in charge, and he just sits back, and nobody's going to tell him how to run his business, right? That was the narrative about Mr. Ford, right? And again, because they didn't win, how much can you argue with said narrative? So now you have a person that cares to make changes, okay? Another thing, what did people say about Mr. Ford? He was loyal to a fault. He kept his guys too long. This is a woman that came in and said, we aren't going to tolerate this Patricia Bob Quinn crap anymore.
We're not.
Okay, it's time to move on. So now, if you want to be that guy that said, I wish we did it before the season started, okay, we can have that conversation. We can have that conversation. But she got to a point after the Thanksgiving game where she said, we cannot do this, okay? And it makes no sense just to let the season play out. It makes no sense to let the season play out. Let's start this process now.
Okay.
Like, what are we really complaining about? If you're one of these guys that haven't... Now, I get it. If she comes in there and says, I don't like this Joique Bell fellow. I want to switch Joique Bell. There's this young man that went to Northeast Michigan State Tech by the name of Art Smith. I really like Art Smith, and I think Art Smith could replace Joique Bell on the roster.
Never.
Yeah, that's one thing. Then I'm
It's
with
never.
you. Then I'm pulling hair out of my head. But it's not happening.
Don't you agree, Art? That'll never happen, right?
I mean, I think that I could
Shut up.
easily.
I could see.
Okay. All right.
If we're not, she's not on yet.
I could see Art being a third down back,
I can
playing
see-
the role of Theo Riddick. I
You know,
can see that.
when you say third down back, you forgot ass. Third down ass back. He'll try to run the field. Coach, hey, get your ass back over there.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
That was a great line.
It was great.
Why are
That
you
was a
laughing?
great line.
That was a great line. You like that
You
one?
know you're my boy. I got love
No,
for
I
you.
don't.
No,
I'm questioning
no.
it. How dare you?
Listen, though. Listen. All right.
Ass back.
Hey, get your back behind that table and you produce a show.
That's funny. Steve
what
did
he's
say
good at.
Theo could catch, though. That's true. Art, I don't know. We've talked about that. Yeah, we got to have a catch. We got to work you
Yeah,
out.
you're
to see
like
if
my
it
mom. You said something was going to happen, and then you canceled on me and never showed up.
Yeah.
I got a better chance of playing catch with her.
No, but
You did. You know what? And hold up. And I agree with Art. We were all ready for the barbecue.
Yep.
And then I get the bad news right before I leave on Friday that you canceled. Canceled.
On
No
Friday.
warning.
it wasn't my fault.
We had a formal invitation.
It wasn't my fault.
Whose fault was it?
There are a lot of people that were crying about, can we do it when it's warmer? It's so cold.
Then those people shouldn't have
No,
been
people
there.
It's going
shouldn't
to
have
be like
came.
11 degrees in the morning.
But
So
understand this. You can't let other people dictate your moves.
Well, here, let me tell you this. You know what? When we do it, I don't want to just do it mediocre. No, listen to me. I want to have a barbecue for all 53 men on the team, Joique. Like, if there are some people that are wishy-washy about going, then I'm going to pick a day when the weather's nicer in April, because we don't just do it, we got to do it big.
I agree.
You had the two most important people ready to go on February 20th, and since who? Stick, McCarty, Chad? They weren't there? You cancel on us? Unbelievable. Team Joique all the way.
Oh. This is a dark day. It's turned into a dark day. The Butcher's here with me. The Butcher feels the same way. I see Dave the Butcher, Chef Dave on there. Dave, we had to move it. A lot of people were, I don't know, it's the snow and the cold. And, I want everybody to feel comfortable. You know what? When you come over my house, I want it to be a cool vibe. Terry Foster's going to come over. He's going to do some ribs with us, right? We're going to put on a show for you guys. I promise you. Okay?
Yeah. You have Mike on YouTube. Cautious, optimistic. Baby steps are being made.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chad Johnson, the owner of this entity, the owner of Lady Jane's. We have a work group text, right? And Chad says, as a guy who owns, 160 stores or whatever the heck it is for Lady Jane's.
Yeah.
Like, as the owner, he wants to be in. He wants to know what's going on in the company that he's writing checks for. It is 1,000% her right to do that. And if I have my druthers, okay, I would rather have somebody that wants to get in there knee deep and see the operation day to day.
Day to day.
That's okay. You know what? Let me my family. Okay, with all due respect to the Ford family, okay, it's been awful ownership. It's been awful ownership. Okay, it pains me to say it, but it's been awful ownership. And this is somebody who has said multiple times now, you know what? We deserve better. We want better. We're going to strive to be better. Okay,
Yeah.
So let me get do you continue to do business as usual, or do you change things up? Honestly, my goodness gracious, if you're one of these people that you have an issue with this, you're looking for something to complain about. You're just waiting for SOL. You're waiting for the opportunity to say those 3 letters that bring you so much joy. Yeah. Trust me, you're going to have that opportunity this next season because they aren't going to be good, okay? So you're going to have that opportunity to say same old Lions, but deep down inside, you can't look at what they've done in the last 4 months and not know the difference.
The difference of same old Lions, right? Same old Lions. Now, is the same old Lions the way of operating the team, or is it same old Lions with the roster? Like, which one is it? And they both don't have to be the same. It could be the same old Lions with the record, but not the way the team is being ran.
You know what? To me, everybody's got a different definition of SOL. Sure. Do you know what mine is? Just general ineptitude.
Statute of limitations is my take on it.
Statute of limitations.
All
right, let's drop that. I'm with you. I mean, I give people a reason to drop it.
Yeah.
And like again, they're starting to do things differently. It's not going to happen overnight. I think for the first time, Joique, this is a franchise that said our ownership has been broken.
Yeah.
Our team right now is broken. We are going to trade our best player, which Matthew Stafford was. We are going to trade our best player, and we are going to build this the right way.
Correct.
And
so, and I know you get a hard on for this one. If we were to trade Jared Goff and get more picks in the future, that's what you want, because if we're going to be bad, let's just be bad.
Suck.
Let's just be bad.
Reinvent
right?
suck.
Right? And as players, we don't have that mindset, but front office people, they can have that mindset. Let's get more picks. Let's build to the draft, because that's his expertise, building through the draft. And so, how do we build in the draft? Is it with the first, second round, or is it with the 3/3? If we get 2 4s, and say we might get 3 5ths, and in the 6th round, that's where we're building the team in the later rounds. I see a guy here, Dr. Detroit. I'd rather build this thing the correct way than grabbing every flash player that will have to overpay. I'd rather have a team of Joique Bells than a team of Akutas. Just saying.
Thank you.
Right.
You know, I cannot understand for the life of me. I have had this argument.
I see you, Dr. Detroit. Appreciate that.
Dr. Detroit, much love.
Yeah.
I've had this argument on this show. I've had this argument for years. You do not build by opening up the checkbook and signing this free agent and that free agent and this free. You build through the draft, you morons. I'm sorry, I have no other way to say that. If you can't understand that, you don't understand how the National Football League works. That's your foundation. And when you get to a point where you're pretty good and maybe you're ready to make a strike, maybe you've gone in the playoffs, you're 10-6, you won a playoff game or something, then you say to her, you know what? We could upgrade our wide receiver position. Let's go get Marvin Jones. Let's go get Golden Tate.
You go draft a 5th round in Theo Riddick. The same year you go out, you get a Reggie Bush. You pay him $16 million. All right. Those are the type of moves we need to be making here. You have a veteran that's established in the league with a lot left in the tank, and you have a young guy with a lot of potential who's able to learn from him. Right. I was there. He was able to learn a little bit from me as well. But I would compare Theo to being more like Reggie, right, as far as being a running back. And those are the type of moves we need to start making right now. Not later, but now.
Yeah.
Right now. We have some pieces. We have some pieces on the team here that's still here that we can use for the next year or two. But we really need to build this team at the draft and then go out and make free agent pickups like that.
Yep.
Where we're not breaking the bank.
No.
But we're spending money spent, and the salary cap needs to be 100% to the players.
Well, and Joique, this is why, Bischoff and I were talking about this. He'll be in here with us Thursday, and make sure that you check out our podcast. The last one was so much fun, and for whatever reason, it struck a chord in people. We had over 1,000 views like that. It was pretty cool. But one of the things that we talked about, Joique, is, okay, do you have to take a wide receiver at 7? When you take a look at some of the wide receivers that have come out and have gotten the job done, is there value at 7? Now, again, if you think that this guy, Waddle, If you think he's a stud, he's a Calvin Johnson or something, well, yeah, then you grab that value. Do you have to take a linebacker at 7? To the Parsons crowd out there. And again, I don't know what Mr. Holmes and his staff did in regards to grading him, but do you have to take that guy at 7? Is there more value to be had in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round? Can you use that pick? And God forbid, this is my pipe dream, just one man's pipe dream. Yep. I would love nothing more than to fall out of 7, go to the late teens, get that first-round draft choice, and get another draft choice next year. We're building right now, so build. Right. And the way to build is through draft picks.
I'll tell you this. If we bring in a guy in the 2nd round and we don't sign another free agent linebacker that can help mold him, I would hate for him to be in the same situation as, say, Kuda. I would hate for him to be in that type of situation. You make sure you have to bring guys in that these younger guys respect. A guy that's been in 7+ years. I remember when I came into the league, like I said, I had guys that's been in the league before me that I was able to talk to. When I played and I was in the red zone, and Coach Mockins he went through, okay, the field's going to be shorter. And I didn't know what that really meant. And then Fred broke it down. All right, listen, you're not going to go 5 yards for the check down. You're going to go 3 yards because the field is shorter. Okay, when you do your out route, it's not going to be 5 yards. You're going to get to 3 yards when you do your out route. Get closer to the quarterback because the play is going to happen so quick. You have to be able to protect him. So don't be too far away. Take a step, just one step closer. So these are things that he's teaching me that is sticking in my membrane because this is a guy that I really respect because I appreciate his body of work. And when you have body of work, which is what you put on film, the eye in the sky don't lie, these are the guys that we respect. And when they say something that sticks, it's kind of like your mother telling you, go take a shower, go brush your teeth.
No.
And then you go to school and that cute girl that you got a crush on, and you finally got the confidence to go talk to her. You go to her and say, hey, I think you're really pretty and you mind being my girlfriend. And she said, ooh, your breath stinks. Now you're going to go home and brush your teeth. You're going to take a shower. You musty. You're going to go home, you're going to take a shower.
Yeah, I dip too much.
Yeah.
That's what
you for sure dip too much.
Yeah.
For sure.
Steve said, I want to get this out there. Steve said, if Goff has a great year and they suck, he better get the same praise 9 did. Don't want to hear people saying they threw a lot because they were down or garbage time stats. Absolutely. I think you guys know my thoughts on Jared Goff. If Jared Goff comes out and has a resurgence, I'll be the first guy to tell you. I promise you. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I told you my biggest issue with Jared Goff is people are talking about what he did 2 seasons ago. Look at his last 2 seasons. He wasn't good. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. He's been a turnover machine. So, therefore, I have my doubts on him moving forward. But if that guy has a resurgence, especially with what he has around him, you better give him the props that he deserves, man.
For sure.
This isn't going to be an easy year, man. It's not going to be an easy year.
It's going to be an easy year for the standpoint of knowing where we are and knowing he doesn't have high expectations right now, but he does have expectations. He just want to see growth in this team. Whatever that growth may be. We don't know what that growth is. Is it winning 2 or 3 games? Is it winning 5? Is it winning 6? I don't see us winning more than 5 games this year. But
Neither do I. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't. Matt said, I hate hearing how this is a retooling on defense, yes, but the offense is really, really close to being able to keep up with 80% of the NFL teams out there. Good O-line. That O-line's better than people give it credit for. We've talked about that a lot, Joique. I think you have the best center in the game. I really do. I think you've got Decker. I think Jonah Jackson is a piece that is going to continue to get better. Good running back, good tight end, good quarterback. I mean, let's go. You need a wide receiving core. And when I say a wide receiving core, I mean a wide receiving core. Not a couple wide receivers. You need a wide receiving core.
You do.
That's where we're at. What's going to happen with Kenny?
You can look. One thing that we have to look at, right? We're going to have to also look to see how this offseason is going to go as far as the team being able to connect and get with one another. Is it going to be a similar offseason to last year? Are the teams going to be able to link up? Is Jared Goff going to be able to call the receiver and say, listen, meet me at the facility. Let's go through some routes. Let's work on our timing. Will they be flying out to certain places to link at secluded locations to start working on their timing in another state, another city? Are they going to do that? Are they going to be able to do that? I don't know. You saw how that affected Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's a pro, and they was able to get it together towards the end. But at the beginning, they were out of sync.
I think I told you Kenny Galladay's first year, I was at camp on a Sunday, and not only did he light it up during the drills, I mean, ate everybody alive, but when camp was over and everybody heads inside and you guys get bothered by we media horde, there were two guys that stayed on the field. Kenny Galladay and Matthew Stafford.
Just those two?
Just stayed on the field, and they kept running like precision passes. They kept like over and over. They kept running the same play over. It was fascinating to watch, and I tweeted out because you're not allowed to do it during. I don't know if you know this. We are not allowed to tweet and give reaction during practice itself. So like I had to ask the media guy, I go, practice is over. Am I allowed to And he gave me the nod, and I tweeted out. I was like, this is Kenny Galladay's going to be a stud. Like, because it's not only what he did while practice was going on, but it was
something you saw.
Hot Sunday afternoon. Mr. Stafford, can we run a few extra routes? Yeah, sure, kid, let's do it. And they're out there busting.
His rookie year, huh?
Yeah, they're out there busting their balls together.
I remember you telling me that story.
Oh, it was beautiful.
I remember that.
I go, I'm telling you, this kid's going to be a player. And listen.
Were you wrong?
No, I wasn't wrong.
No, you weren't wrong.
Most of the times I am wrong.
But what happened?
That time I wasn't.
I asked you that for a reason, because when you tweeted that, you had a lot of people come back with negativity. Oh, he's on a bandwagon. All these different things you heard. You was telling me about. I remember that.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? Let me get to a couple of comments, and I want to get back to Sheila Ford Hemp. I have a question for all of you, including Joique as well. Fremont said 2 years ago, Goff looked great on a rookie deal. He was unbelievable 2 years ago. I mean, listen, and this is the conversation, and I remember having this conversation with Maz the next day. If we're going to talk about that year, and we should, right? That you can't not include that year. Well, then we also have to talk about his last 2 years. And I don't know why. If we're going to have the conversation, let's talk about everything. And I think the people out there, the shiny, happy people out there that want to accentuate the positives, I think sometimes you have to look at everything. He was unbelievable. I'll be the first person to say it 2 years ago. Looked like a future star. The last couple years, I can understand why the Rams moved on. I can. He wasn't good. He's been a turnover machine. And so that's my worry moving forward. Which Jared Goff is he? Is he the guy that looked great 2 years ago?
Is that a worry for you?
Yeah, it is a worry for me.
Seriously?
Yeah, because people want to put Goff on a pedestal that, quite frankly, I don't think he belongs on.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, but you want him. You want those turnovers.
I want him. I want the warts.
All right, so it shouldn't be a worry for you.
Well, I mean, there are people out there that want to.
So it's their worry.
Well, we deal with this every day. There are people out there that want to turn Jared Goff into something that I don't think he is, or something that he hasn't been the last 2 years.
I would say that
would be the best way to say
he hasn't been. He's in rare form.
So we'll see. But hey, listen. With that being said, if the kid comes out and lights it up next year, then you sit back and you go, all right, he's young. Holy crap! He looks like the guy from 2 years ago, right?
It could be a change of environment, change of scenery.
Yeah.
Some players they reemerge. Like they came out with that clip last year where they had Grunk who came back from retirement. You had Antonio Brown who was in jail. You had Fournette who had just been cut from the Jags, and you had Tom Brady going into free agency. And every touchdown scored in that game for Tampa was from a guy who wasn't on the team the previous
Isn't it amazing?
year.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
A couple of other things before we hit the break. Franchise Galladay just drafted Cephas, draft a wide receiver or two, and we're there. Now, I love Quintus Cephas. If you were watching our draft shows last year, you know that. I do. I love the guy, okay?
He's not the premier.
But you know how I love the guy? He's not a 1. He's not a 2. He's a good depth piece. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think right now, in my opinion, with the Lions, you need a 1, you need a 2, you need a 4, you need a 5, you need a 6. Is Kenny Galladay going to stay here? I think that's you franchise him, but do they franchise him to keep him here, or do they turn around and trade him once he proves he can stay healthy? That's a question. I don't know the answer to that. I know there's some speculation out there that might end that way. Let's see.
With Kenny. So
Dan said he will serve his purpose for 2 years. I agree with that. I think Jared Goff is your quarterback for 2 years, and then they move on.
Yeah, we have Jim Caldwell who entered the chat.
What'd he have to say? What mediocre thing did he have to say?
They should never fire me. Yeah. Yes, I love Detroit. And then, Bill, you were my favorite RB when I coached there. All right, Caldwell.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate that.
Appreciate
All right, when
that.
we come back, seriously, I have a question. I want to get back on the Sheila Ford Hemp stuff. I have a question for Joique. I have a question for you guys out there
for me?
as well. I do have a question for you.
Oh, goody.
What would you rather? What was the would you rather? Wasn't that a game? Would you rather?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to tell you about my bookie. No matter the sport or season, you can always win big now. Non-stop action, 365 days a year. Choose from thousands of lines on the NBA, NHL, UFC, and more. The winning never ends at my bookie. They have something for everybody, and nobody does prop bets like my bookie. If you don't believe me, go look up the inordinate amount of prop bets that they have. I mean, some crazy stuff on there. March Madness right around the corner. Start building your bankroll now. But to get this all started, you got to do yourself a favor. Sign up today with promo code Woodward. Get your first deposit match halfway up to $1,000. That is free cash credited to your account instantly on top of your deposit. Now, the best part is you always have access to the action, whether you're at home or on the go. Just visit mybookie.ag today and use promo code Woodward to grab yourself a deposit bonus. Bet, win, and get paid at MyBookie. He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian. This is Woodward Sports.
Hey, it's Joey from Woodward Sports, and I am here in downtown Fenton at Bridge Street Exchange. This place has so many amazing things for guys. And ladies, this is the hidden spot that you got to come check out. I'm talking thorough good boots, best boots ever. They have barware. They got the Stormy Cromer hats. They got Carhartt hats, a huge Carhartt selection. They even got Snoop Dogg underwear. So go check them out, bridgestreetexchange.com, and use the code word WSN for 15% off.
Hi, friends. How are you? Everything going well? I almost feel like that. I like the big, like, video board. What is that? Like, video board behind us? It'd be great if we had like a roaring fire behind us and fireside chats with Joique and
a little
Sean,
game,
right?
a little Game of Thrones action.
Right? You could just have a nice roaring fire behind there.
But
Are you a fireplace guy, by the way?
Oh yes. Oh
Love
yeah.
them.
Yeah. I have to turn it off though because it gets too hot in the house, so I have to turn it.
All right. So you have the gas one, right? I was a snob for many years because I had a natural fireplace, and I loved going out in the woods and getting my own wood. That was like the lumberjack in me.
Oh yeah. Did you go to Brother Rice?
So anyway, in just a second, I have this gas fireplace, and I don't know what I was missing. That thing's awesome.
Awesome.
I love it.
Flick of a switch.
Every night. And seriously, every night it's on. I can guarantee you at 9 o'clock tonight, if you're looking for
How's
me,
your DTE bill?
it's pretty bad. If you're looking for me tonight, I will be on my couch at 9 o'clock watching a hockey game next to the fireplace. That's where I'm going to be.
7:30.
I'm at a hockey game at 7:30, but I'll be home by 8 o'clock to watch hockey. Yeah, I'm at a hockey game.
I'll be on the couch watching hockey at 7:30 with the fireplace on for
It's beautiful. Yes, Arthur.
I'd love for us to put a fireplace back there, but Joique would probably say that he can't see it. I wish people could understand what's going on in between the break. He goes, "Are we live on Twitter?" I said, "Yeah, we're live on Twitter." "I don't see it. You got to send me a link." I'm having a full-blown panic attack over here. Unbelievable.
What?
Unbelievable.
I'm glad that the camera caught my emotions on my sleeve when he started talking. Did you see that? Can we rewind it back?
No, we don't have rewind capabilities.
Can we rewind that back? Yeah. Anyway, before we was
can I ask
interrupted.
you a question? Would you rather have an owner?
Can I ask a favor before we get
Of
to
course,
it?
you can ask anything you want.
Like, before you call on Art, can you, like, ask me first, please? Please?
I'm sorry.
Just ask me first. That's all I ask.
You asked so earnestly. Did you see his face?
Please.
Can you Can you just ask me
It
first?
just throws off the whole show. And then he saw talking, and then it goes from us, and it shows him for his little 10 seconds of fame.
Is he talking? I can't hear. Is he talking about me right now?
Do you have your headphones on?
No, because they're not working.
Yeah. Nothing's working when you're
I'm
back
in a
there.
glass box of emotions right now.
I'm in a glass box of emotion.
Look at me.
That was good.
I want to ask you guys a question. Seriously, would you rather have an owner that takes an interest in what's going on and wants to be in the day-to-day operations and make sure that things are running smoothly and talks about how bad the franchise is and wanting to change that? Or would you like to roll with the ownership that we've rolled with for basically, if you're watching, the majority of our lives? Like, what are we doing here? This is a good thing. This is a good thing.
I want an owner to be as many of these personnel meetings as possible. Because say 10 years down the road, we make more changes, right? So we make more changes down the road. That's not unusual in the NFL. And we have new people coming in. And then now she already has one perspective on how a team should be ran. And now she can get another perspective, because, everybody has, a lot of people, they have different formulas on how they do certain things. And now she's getting one perspective. Say we hire someone else 10 years, 12, 8, whatever it may be. When they come in, now she's sitting in that room to get their perspective. And now she can sit back and say, wow, okay, this is how they think. Now I can start thinking out the box on what I feel we need to do here as an organization, right? And so let's see what happens. I don't mind her sitting in those meetings. It's a difference between sitting in the meeting and making decisions, right? And it's a difference between sitting in the meeting, taking notes and learning.
I love that. Dan said as long as she doesn't turn into Jerry Jones, Steve said she's becoming a leader instead of a boss, and I love it. And that's, to me, Joique, that's the big – Jerry Jones is the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. Make no mistake about that. Yeah. To the point where Jerry Jones has often said, we are never going to hire a general manager. Now, Daniel Snyder for years tried that same thing, and then he finally gave up in Washington. And look what happened. By golly, Washington looks to be on the way up. And now Martin Mayhew's at the helm there, and he's got to draft well and continue the upward swing and everything. But that looks like a team that's on the way up. I could be wrong. Even in a 7-9 season, to get in the playoffs, to put up the kind of fight that they did, my goodness gracious. All right, let's see what's going on. Get the right quarterback in place. Jerry Jones has often said that's never going to happen. Like, right. Jerry Jones is the guy. And what it is for Jerry Jones, and I think people realize this, it's personal to Jerry. It is. It's personal to Jerry because he knows his hand-picked guy, Jimmy Johnson, gets all the accolades for what happened in the early 90s. And in Jerry's mind, he's going, now, wait a second. He was the football coach. I was the guy that really brought those people in. He wasn't. But that's Jerry's ego is not going to allow him to give up that fight.
Why do you feel it was his ego?
1,000%. That whole job, that's why Jimmy Johnson left. It was anybody. This team that I put together, remember that the famous story is the final straw between those two was the post-Super Bowl party where they were at a dinner and Jerry Jones told a group of assembled beat writers and bigwigs in the NFL, anybody could coach the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl based on what I put together. And Jimmy Johnson was like, really? Later. And that was the end. That was the end of Jimmy and Jerry.
Their dynasty.
Yeah, that was it. Now they went and won one more Super Bowl under Barry Switzer, but that, again, that was with, you still had Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith.
Hey, was Jerry Jones wrong then?
Barry Switzer did win 2 years later.
Yeah. So
what Jerry Jones was 1,000% wrong about is he has no idea how to put together a football team. Okay. He was 1,000% wrong. He has no idea. And his ego will never allow him to say that. He's been an uber successful businessman. And I think because of that, I don't think his ego has gotten the best of him. The Dallas Cowboys, with the resources that guy provides, to have as little success as they've had in the last 25 years is unbelievable.
So you know the saying, money doesn't change you, it changes the people around you.
Yeah.
Are you saying that the money changed Jerry Jones, or the success changed
the success
Jerry Jones?
did. No question about it. Mm-hmm.
It changed him, huh?
It was.
Or was he always like that?
You have to remember, all right, and I hate to use this, the team that they took over was a disaster, and they bit the bullet that first year and finished 1-15, okay? And then the next year they went 7-9 and nearly made the playoffs. So the third year, all of a sudden they're a playoff team. They're 11-5, and they've got all these young pieces, but they weren't quite ready for prime time yet, as the Detroit Lions showed by pounding them unmercifully 38-6 for the Lions' only playoff win. So they were at the bottom, and it went like this, and it went like this, and then the next thing you know, 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. And they did it the right way. They accumulated a crap load of picks, but the most important thing is, and we haven't seen this yet, you can grab every pick in the world. You have to make those picks count. And Jimmy Johnson and his staff were unbelievable. And the problem that Jerry Jones has is people say Jimmy Johnson and his staff, and they don't say Jerry Jones and his staff. So Jerry Jones has been chasing that ghost for 25 years. Longer than that. He really has been. And so to me, I think it's great because you have an owner here right now that's saying, I don't know what I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to do your business, but at the same time, I want to better understand your business, and I'm going to sit in. Great. That's, you know what, seriously, do you know what this is akin to? Joique. I'm going to tie this to you. You don't know anything about this damn business, right?
No.
But you know what you've done? You've asked 50,000 questions. Now, that's disrespectful.
That's right.
52,000 questions. You've picked up the phone. You've called me. You've texted me. Mm-hmm. You've talked to Art. All jokes aside, you've talked to Chad, and you've asked questions because you're like, what do I need to do?
What?
Did I ever call you Art?
You call me all the time. You text me all the time. We FaceTime. Don't lie to the people.
No. About the business.
Have you guys ever had a conversation about the business?
Yeah, we've had one or two.
He couldn't even keep a straight face. That was no, but seriously,
I'm calling Mass. I'm calling you.
No,
I'm
being legitimately.
I'm gonna call Art.
Because you know what my job is? My job, and this is why I never understand guys in my business that get like a big ego. Do you know what my job is? Yeah. I talk about the things that other people do. Like, what is it? How do you get egotistical about that? Like, sir, I'm talking about what other people do. And unfortunately, there are people in the media business that have like this big head that think they reinvented the wheel and everything. And you're like, dude, you're talking about what Joique Bell did. You're talking about what Dylan Larkin did. You're not doing it. You're talking about what others did. So you have a guy like Joique Bell in here who we've talked about what he's done. And he comes in and the first thing he says is, I don't know anything about this business. Teach me. Cool. Yeah. Outstanding. It's good. Yeah. How can I help you in any way? And I appreciate that from you. I appreciate that from any human being. Sheila Ford has no reason to be submissive to anybody.
Look at that. Art's rubbing off on you. Look at that.
She's a gazillionaire. She's right? But she's humbling herself and saying, I don't know how this runs. Yeah. Can I sit in and find out? I kind of want to know what's going on in this operation that I run. So why wouldn't you want that? Bravo. Absolutely.
It's my business. How are you going to run my business?
Yes.
How are you going to make me profit? How are you going to make the fans profit? Because we've been in the negative. We've been in the red for quite some time. How are you going to get us out the red?
I love what Steve Brown said here. If I were to become a manager of a group I don't understand, my first priority would be to learn what I don't know and lean on people who do know.
Yeah.
1,000%. Here, I'm going to give you.
Good team builder.
I think I've told you this before. I grew up and I thought I understood football. I never played football. Never. Not a down, okay? But I think I understood football. I watched a lot of it. I knew all the Super Bowl scores, who won a national championship this year and everything. The greatest thing I could have ever done, and I know I've told you this, I sat in on a film session with Gary Pinkel when he was at Toledo. You want to talk about an education? I was an idiot. I didn't know what the hell was going on. No idea, right? And the same thing, your coach, Paul Winters, one of the coolest things for me is like sitting with him on the first day of practice in the middle of the field. He always calls me over, and he just explains things to me in terms that I'm going to understand. Because your knowledge is there. You've lived that. I've watched that. There's a big difference. So, you know what? Ask questions, man.
You have to. It's funny, when I first got to Wayne State, I didn't know anything about football. I was just good at it, you know. We didn't go through, I didn't know what an under defense was. I didn't know what an over was. I didn't know what an eagle, a bear. I knew what a cover 2. I knew what a cover 3 was. I didn't know what a weak invert was. I didn't know what a strong, I didn't know what that was. Then I got to Wayne State, and they started to teach me football, the X's and O's, because we never went over that in high school. Get on the field and, you know, and line up like this, and we're going to run this play. This is the play we're running. And I'm like, okay. That's what it was.
It's kind of like Forrest Gump, right?
Yeah.
Joique, run. Right? Joique's running down the side.
Inside zone right, inside zone left.
Joique, stop right there. You see where it says Benton Harbor? Stop right there. That's the end zone. You just scored a touchdown. And then Joique running up and down the field.
Running circles around him. Real quick, Dr. Detroit, he said, Joique, what is one thing you wish the average fan will understand about the NFL that they just do not understand currently?
It's a great question.
This is a building franchise. We're building. Understand we're not going to have success right from the jump, but you can't let that discourage you from what we're going to be doing in the future. Pay very close attention to this year's draft, and pay very close attention to who we pick up in free agency for the next 2 years. Watch that, because a lot of the guys we have that's going to help change this franchise are either freshmen or sophomores in college, or they might be seniors in high school. It's just what it is. Be patient. Understand this is a business, and patience is a virtue. Relax. And we've been patient for a long time, but so what's 3-4 more years? We've been patient for over 50 years. What's 2 or 3 more years?
I couldn't have said that better. You nailed it. Joique, you know my quote, the last thing in the world you want to tell a Lion fan is to be patient.
Last thing.
I don't want to hear it. I don't take glee. You know what? For the first time in my life, though, this franchise is saying, we suck. We've been a bad franchise, and we're going to do something about it. That's the first time in my lifetime that's happened, and yours. We've never heard it before. There have been horrible years. There have been down years. They have, made changes. But you're talking about saying, okay, you know what? Here we go. We're going to load up on some picks. We're going to try to build this the right way. To me, it's different. Now, the difficult part is the follow-through. There's no doubt about that.
The follow-through.
Can we talk about meathead when we come back? The term meathead when we come back? I want to talk about I want to talk about meathead when we come back. Hey, start a new career in an industry that is always essential, the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu. I'm going to say it again, much like the topic we were just talking about. The Lions have nobody to blame but themselves for people taking shots at them and the way that they do business. They don't. I mean, I don't like to hear it, but there's a reason why Same Old Lions exist. There's a reason why Camp Happy Times exists. So many of the different quotes that have become part of popular vernacular. I think right now people are trying too hard. I really do. I think people are trying too hard. I think they're trying too hard. It's a bad thing that Sheila Ford wants to learn about the day-to-day operations, that she wants to be a part of it. That's a bad thing.
Bad thing?
I don't get that. And it's a bad thing that we have 2 meatheads in this front office. That's a bad thing. We'll get into that next. Glad you could join us. It's Woodward Sports He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
So I thought it was funny. Dan Campbell had a comment about being referred to as a meathead. Meathead has kind of taken on this negative connotation, and it's not just a football thing. I think a lot of people apply it also to hockey, right? Me play hockey, smash you, punch you in face. Me play football, look at me run touchdown. Me faster, stronger. Like meatheads become like this like negative connotation. It was funny because we were talking about it during the break. How would you define meathead? You know what? I would describe like a dumb jock. That's how I would describe it. And I guess because somebody played in the NFL, then clearly they must be a dumb jock. I don't quite understand that. Yeah. But in case you missed it, Dan Campbell was talking about how, his press conference, look, it wasn't for some people, okay? It wasn't for some people, all right? I told you, to me, I don't get worked up over winning press conferences. I get worked up when you lose a press conference. If you lose a press conference, that's a bad thing. You should win a press conference, right? But some people, he really came across as a meathead. He really, and it's like, I think, number one, it's incredibly disrespectful to former players because there are a heck of a lot of intelligent guys that are playing football, okay? I mean, hi, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Mr. Harvard, for example. This guy's a pretty smart guy. He's probably not going to tell you that, but I think his business acumen will kind of show you he's a pretty smart guy. But, like, Dan Campbell came out when, people were saying, well, how do you react to people thinking that, the Lions are being run by a couple of meatheads? Chris Spielman, former player, who was a heart and soul player. Chris Spielman's a guy that could have played in the 1930s with leather helmets.
So I'm going to ask you a question. So they talk about the guys in the front office.
Yeah.
All right. And they talk about the head coach.
Yeah.
Well, what about the assistant head coach? Is he a meathead?
I guess he is. Maybe he is.
The OC and DC, are they meatheads?
I don't get
Randall
it. Is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing?
I guess once they start winning games in the future, say 3 or 4 years
the
from
Lion
now,
way?
Yeah. Say they start winning games 3 or 4 years down the line when we built this team and we have a good foundation, we have the right people, the right veterans coming in and helping to guide these young players. I wonder if they're still going to be meatheads then. All right. Just sit back and wait.
You know what's interesting about it? We were talking to Stick. Make sure to check out Stick and Joey and Corey with a K in the morning here on Woodward Sports. And Joique, we were talking about some famous quote-unquote meatheads. You know who might be the poster child for meatheads? Mike Ditka. Mike Ditka might be the poster child for meatheads. He was a tight end who, me not run around, player, me run through you. Like, watch Ditka's tape.
He played what?
Tight end.
What position is Dan Campbell? What did he play?
Tight end.
Oh.
He Ditka.
Just speaking. I'm just
Ditka punished people, right? Mike Ditka was the head coach of a team that, I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. I envied them so much growing up. I wanted to be the Chicago Bears so badly I couldn't see straight. And yes, they only won one Super Bowl. It's arguably one of the most famous Super Bowl champion teams ever. Yeah. The Super Bowl Shuffle, the Fridge, Jim McMahon and the headbands, Walter Payton, and they had really a reign of terror for about 10 years over the old NFC Central. They really did. How'd that work out for Mike Ditka? Now, Mike Ditka is also a guy that, he moved on and he went to New Orleans and he didn't have a lot of success there. But Mike Ditka is a guy that hasn't coached in forever, and you still see him endorsing this, that, and the other thing up until just recently. How's that persona worked out for him? Why is that a negative thing? Why? I mean, you tell me, as a guy who played, is that
it's funny.
What am I missing?
Right. So it's funny. So we have a question on YouTube from Mike. So Mike said, Joique, as a player, how aware were you of the fan mentality of despair of the franchise, and do the players ever let that creep into their head, or does it affect your time in that city? I grew up in Michigan, so I was already aware before I came here. I went to Wayne State, the only football team in the only college football team in Detroit, and so I was very, very aware of what was going on with the team. I was in college when they had the 0-16 season, and I remember seeing the city. I mean, downtown Detroit was a ghost town. It was ghost. It was more people in this office than we saw people walking around downtown. And now, me going there and playing and bringing some success to the team and being a part of the city, the whole downtown has livened. More businesses have come to the city. More developments is starting to happen. And it's funny that when I was in New Orleans and they were having success, and I got there after the Super Bowl, and Sean Payton was addressing the team, and he said it's funny how success of a sports team can change the whole demeanor of a city, right? And this is around the time when Mercedes-Benz partnered with the Saints, and they call it the Mercedes Superdome now, right? And he was addressing the team to kind of bring that up. And it's funny how now that we're having success, when I play, more businesses, more things starting to happen with the city. And so it's good to see. It's great to see. And for me, as a player, one thing that they really harped on us about was not listening to the outside noise. We used to call it white noise. Don't listen to the white noise. Only stay focused on the task at hand. And that's why we were able to have some little success here.
It's interesting. You bring that up, and I have to share with you. I think I brought this up to Terry Foster when he was in. A guy that came before you, Dre Bly, came here, right? Great guy. Like Dre's really a good dude. And I don't know if you remember this, because this would have been probably the very beginning of your collegiate career. But Dre didn't want to hear about same old lines anymore. Didn't want to hear about any of that stuff. And people bombed him for it.
Who's like that? Now, who did a similar? Jalen Ramsey when he was with.
Oh yeah,
the
yeah. Well, it's interesting because I remember Dre used to like to talk about. So Dre and I used to talk about college football. Like when I'd see him out at camp, we talk about college football. He's a big college football guy.
That's your favorite.
Yeah, I've told you that. I love college football, and so Dre and I would talk about college football. To the surprise of nobody, he's coaching college football now. But Dre, I said to Dre was like talking to me. He goes, what is it about this city? And I said, Dre, you don't understand because you haven't been here. We've all seen a perennial loser our entire lifetime. One playoff win, all of that stuff. And he said to me, but what does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with me? And I said, Dre, you're absolutely right. That's a fair point. It doesn't have anything to do with you. But know this, the second that you put on that helmet and that jersey and you go out there and you add to that history, you're not part of it, whether you want to admit it or not. So as fate would have it, fans out there might remember this, the Lions had a National Football League record for losing streak on the road. They went and lost their first game on the road. And I went up to Dre and I said, Dre, do you get it now? You're part of that. Whether you want to admit it or not, you are now part of that. Dre Bly is a member of the team that lost more games on the road in a row than any other team in National Football League history. I said, it's not fair to you. You've only been here a game, and you're a heck of a player. Ended up making the Pro Bowl. But I said, that's what it is. And I said, do you want people to change? Do you want people to change the narrative? I didn't use the term narrative, but the word now is narrative. I said, do you want people to stop talking negatively? Then stop playing negatively. Then end a road losing streak. then find a way to get into the playoffs. You want people to stop saying this is a franchise that has only won one playoff game in the Super Bowl era? Win another one. Right?
Right.
That's the only way they're going to. You can cry and moan and get angry and, no offense, Joique, talk about the white noise all you want.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this.
But the only way that goes away is if you guys go out there and then you can do what? You guys go out there and win. It's all over.
It's all over. And I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna give you an example of how. And I think this is with a football team. I could be wrong, but I think a team won the Super Bowl. I can't remember what city. All right, I can't remember what city. I could be wrong. But when they won the Super Bowl, the crime rate in the city went to 0 for that day when they won it.
No kidding, really?
Yeah.
That's a cool story.
Yeah. I got to figure out what team it was. If you guys know what team it is, put it in the comment section. Put it in. And I think that would be something that would happen in Detroit. That crime rate would go all the way down. Do I think it'll go to 0? I don't know. But I think for that day, that time, I think people would be out celebrating that day.
You can't, like, there's no way you can put, that moment that the Red Wings win the Stanley Cup, when the Pistons win the NBA title. I think one of the coolest nights when the Tigers advanced to the World Series in 2006 because it was so unexpected. Like the spontaneous celebration outside of Comerica Park that night was, I'll never forget it. It was amazing. It was this cold October night, but it felt like it was 90 degrees outside, and everybody just had a blast outside. I put my son up on my shoulders, and it's kind of funny because it was the last time he ever went up on my shoulders.
You guys need to reenact that moment right now. Put them back on your shoulders and take another picture. Like, show the before picture and then do another one. Do it after.
He is 6'3", and I am 98 years old. I'd probably break my hip with him up on my shoulders.
That's fine. It's worth.
Now you want me dead?
It's for the ground.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. You know what? I'll find a picture of it because it was. You can't.
Excuse me, Sean. All right, can you get off your phone? Thank you. All right, go ahead, Sean.
I can't even hear what you're saying, but I'm guessing it wasn't important.
Yo, can you get off your phone, please? Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can do both things at once. It's called multitasking.
No. Thank you.
No. Do the show.
No.
You look great. Where's Terry Foster at?
My God.
He quit. He quit after that day with you.
He loves working with me. He followed me on Twitter. Thank you, Terry.
So listen to me. The difference between some of those wins, right? The Red Wings have won the Stanley Cup at home at Joe Louis Arena. The Tigers won the World Series in 1984 at Tiger Stadium. Okay, the Pistons have won the NBA title at home. Now it's also happened on the road. The Pistons, when they beat Portland, were out in Portland, so you didn't have the spontaneous celebration, although there was a party out in the Auburn Hills parking lot. The Wings in 98, because it was the second one, it wasn't as crazy. It was still crazy, but it was also in Washington when they won.
Becoming a norm.
Yeah, what I would say about that is this. The Lions aren't going to be here when they win a Super Bowl, right? But that party is going to be everywhere. There are going to be parties. Like, I don't know if there's going to be a centralized location. Maybe people, Joique, if we're working together, we're scheduling a party.
Do you think they do something dope
right there in Pride Plaza?
Do you think they do something?
Schedule another party to cancel.
Hold on 1 second, Art. Hold on, Art. I'm talking. So, do you think they'll do something similar to what Cleveland did, where they'll have, say, if it's away, if the Super Bowl, say, is in Dallas. And no, I don't like Dallas. Say it's in L.A. at the Rams. You think they're going to show the game on the big screen like at Ford Field?
Could you imagine that?
And they can sell tickets?
Could you imagine that? Put a scoreboard. All right, you know how they have that giant billboard like in front of Ford Field.
Right.
You could sell tickets, and if you want to be really classy, say we're going to give it to Detroit Lions charities. All the proceeds are going to Detroit Lions charities. And Detroit Lions charities, as you know, does a lot of great things in the community. All the proceeds go to Detroit Lions charity. We are going to sell 55,000 seats. Plus, for an additional $10, we're going to set up a bunch of chairs on the field as well. So you can look,
Yeah.
and then have the scoreboard outside.
That'd be more so like a movie. No one wants those front row seats.
Yeah, right. Have the scoreboard outside, and it would be. I don't know if there'd be a centralized location for that, because I really think, as we've talked about, that party would be the greatest party in the history of this city. Even when they chased the damn redcoats out of this city. I mean, honestly, it would be like I think I'd stay at home and weep for like 15
drought.
minutes. I would be big. Yeah, I'm gonna go out. But I would get stuck in my house and I'd fall on the ground and I'd weep like a child.
I'm gonna ask you this, and you are a sports dictionary. People might not know about that, but you are a sports dictionary
Nerd.
This is the biggest drought in sports history.
In Detroit?
No. In general.
You got to remember Cleveland went, was it 1948? Well,
I'm sorry. Since the Super Bowl era. I'm sorry.
The Super Bowl era?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. We're the worst. We're the worst.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're the worst. This is, Terry and I were talking about this because we're obviously older. This is worse. The late 70s, everybody talks about the late 70s and how bad it was in the late 70s as it was. This is worse. This era that we're going through with our teams right now, this has been worse. Because in the late 70s, there were some teams that were, there's nobody even close to now. All our teams suck. Like, every one of our teams suck. And, like, 3 of them are by design. Like, the Pistons suck right now by design. The Red Wings suck right now by design. They won't admit it, but it's the truth. The Tigers suck right now because their general manager gets the biggest free pass in all of town.
They said that if the Lions if they win the Super Bowl, Dr. Detroit said we will need the National Guard if the Lions win the Super Bowl.
I don't even think about it.
Joe said the state of Michigan will be burned to the ground. Laugh out loud.
I don't even want to think about it. I don't. Steve said Bengals haven't won a playoff game since 1990. I will remind you, though, all right, the Bengals have twice had 2 playoff wins in the same season. Twice. So they had more playoff wins in a 2-week span than the Lions have had. You can't make shit like that up.
We only have how many playoff wins do we have total in the history?
In Super Bowl era?
Mm-hmm. 1. That was 1992.
I was there, January 92. Freezing cold day. It was really cold that day.
That's same
so
year that
loud.
Art. That's the year you got potty trained.
I talk a big game. Honestly, I'm telling you, just because it popped, I think the one thing that I have to do is I have to go to my grandfather's grave and I have to have a conversation with my grandfather.
Right.
Because my grandfather told me 41 years ago not to waste my time with this franchise. That's a true story. My grandfather told me not to waste my time with this franchise, Joique. So honestly, I think not that night, because after I'm done weeping like a little child, I'm gonna get really hammered, like historically hammered. And then I think the next day I'm gonna drive over to my grandfather's plot, and I'm just gonna go, Grandpa, what's up? I just wanted you to know. I hope you were watching. Lions got it done. It was worth it. 41 years or whatever it is, it was worth it. All the times they kicked me in the groin, and I said, yes, sir, may I have another? It was worth it. They just won the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
Right?
May I have another?
Yeah. Thank you, sir, may I have another? Because that's what this franchise has done to me. That's what they've done to me. Over and over, just kicking me in the jimmy. Over and over. And I believe I like this mix with Joique. Joique and Reggie are good. This is the year. Every time. That's what this franchise does.
I'm sorry
to
we
me.
did that to you. I'm sorry, Sean.
It's okay.
I'm sorry we couldn't bring it
Yeah,
on.
you know what the sad reality is?
That was
You're
sort of-
one of the most fond memories of my Lion fandom. You are. That's the truth.
That's only because you covered me in college.
You know,
So
that's
it
part
was
of
a
it.
personal.
No, but the success, that team was fun.
Yeah.
That was you guys. That was 11-5 seasons we aren't used to around here.
I'm gonna tell you now though. And we sit back and we talk about them bringing in a linebacker, second round. Do I think that's the move we should take. I think that what me and you talked about before, what I feel we need in order to win and become a winning franchise, that we have to win our picks in the trenches. We have to find those hidden talents that we can put down in the trenches that's going to help us move forward. The game is won in the trenches. For people who know what the trenches are, it's the O-line and D-line. That's where the game is won. If you look at Tully was a very good linebacker, right? And much love to Tully. But having that D-line just made him better than what he was. And I'm not saying he was bad, Tully. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, you beat me one time in a blocking drill, and I beat you the other time. We'll bring you on the show. We can talk about it. But yeah, like you have a good O-line can make me look better than what I really am, right? So I think that's where we need to start.
Couldn't agree with you more.
That's where we need to start.
Couldn't agree with you more.
I
think this offensive line is better than we're giving it credit for. That is one area of the Lions that I think people are being a little harsh. And again, maybe it's because I love Frank Ragnow. I think Frank Ragnow is just a stud. I think what you saw is Ragnow comes in and plays his natural position.
Do you think Decker continues to play at the level he's playing? That's what's going to be the main.
Bam.
That's going to be the
Joique, what happened to Taylor Decker? That's Taylor Decker, whether people want to admit it or not. Taylor Decker came out, looked really good, and then all of a sudden for a couple of years, we didn't know about Taylor Decker. And then you put Frank Ragnow in his natural position. What happened? All of a sudden Taylor Decker went like that. You don't think that goes hand in hand? Like people don't realize, hey, Joique Bell's going to look better behind a good offensive line. You don't think that goes hand in hand?
That's true.
But play guys at their natural position.
The center is probably the second smartest guy on the field outside the quarterback. I remember when...
so if you have a center, you should probably play the center at his natural position. One.
You good? You all right? You got it out?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of, hey, we have a great center. Let's try him at guard.
I remember it was a game. I remember it was a game where something happened, and who was that? Don Raiola was calling all of the plays on the line, calling out the Mike linebacker, and just taking a lot of pressure off of pressure off the QB. And I can't remember if Stafford was in the game or we had somebody replacing him because he might have been down. But yeah, he was calling all the plays, and it just shows you, he's calling the mic out, he's calling the line calls. This is who you have. This is, all the calls. He's calling that out, and I'm just like, wow, he can see all that up there. Even quarterbacks like being in shotgun because they can see the field better. They can see everything better. That's why they love to be in shotgun. They can just see everything that's happening quicker versus, turning that back, doing a play action and looking up and seeing what's going on. He was doing that from the O-line. Ridiculous. One of the smartest guys I played with.
I love your logic because, Joique, this is something that these are conversations that we all have to have. I understand that everybody – there are two things that make me laugh year in, year out about the draft, right?
What makes you laugh?
Number one –
does it make you upset or does it make you laugh?
It makes me laugh because it's like, is this your first draft? I don't know if people know this. I always have to bring this point up. I don't know if people know this. There's a second day of the draft. I don't know if you knew that. Because there are people that lose their mind on the first day of the draft, Joique, and say, why on earth did the Lions draft a running back in the first round? What? We need a linebacker so badly. Well, I don't know if you know this, but there's a second day of the draft where you can go draft multiple linebackers that day. So people lose their mind over that first day, and it doesn't make sense. And then as a bonus, there's a third day as well. Shh, don't tell anybody. But you don't have.
It's a third day?
Yeah, you don't have to go down the list, Joique.
Is that new?
Yeah, it's been the last few years. You don't have to go down the list of the order of importance, right? If you feel if you put a circle around linebacker, okay, and linebacker might be the position of importance, okay, that doesn't mean that you can't address the linebacker in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round. right? And this is where I always bring the term value up. Are you going to tell me you can't find a Stephen Tulloch in the 4th round?
You definitely can.
Yeah, this is why you pay your scouting staff. This is why a lot of these guys make the big bucks, because you have to be able to find these guys. You know, for whatever reason, this guy slipped between the cracks coming out of high school, right? And instead of getting all of the, the scholarships offers to Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and Texas and Texas A&M. Well, this guy ended up at North Texas, unheralded North Texas, okay? Well, 2 things may have happened in unheralded North Texas. Number 1, the dude could have turned into a freak of nature just growing at North Texas. And number 2, he could have been coached up right. And so just because the dude went to North Texas doesn't mean that he might not be the best linebacker in the class. And you have to find that guy in the 2nd round, the 3rd round, the 4th round. And to me, it blows my mind that people are so short-sighted.
When we took a linebacker in the 2nd round, what year was that? Was this around 2017, 16? I think.
Are you talking about Tavai?
Yeah.
A couple of years ago? It didn't work. It didn't work out.
I remember I was at the
practice. Good. Shh.
No, it's funny.
He's not good.
I didn't even know he was on the team radar. I didn't know they were going for him. I didn't even know. But I remember I was doing an event for the Lions at the facility. They were having a draft party.
Were you there that day?
I was there.
So was I.
And when they called out
Did I see you that day?
I was on the stage. I did a quick interview.
Did you come over and talk to us?
Yeah, with Dan Miller.
I was over there. That's funny. Yeah.
And so
that's funny. Yeah.
And so.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. But do you remember what happened in
yes.
What happened?
Huh? There was like a groan. That really, like Art. I'm not joking.
No,
Art. There was like a groan, like a.
It wasn't even that. It was the unknown.
Yes.
Because I didn't even know he was on our radar, and so when they called his name out, I kind of looked around and I just saw the facial expression of the entire crowd.
You know what's funny? I was with Scott Bischoff, who's paid to do this. Okay? So when they announced Jelani Tavai, I had no idea who he was. I'm not going to lie to you. No idea who he is. And so we all looked at Scott. We all just went, zoop. Like, okay, Scott. And I'll never forget. He went like this. He goes. And I go, that's not good. And he goes, my guess is he thinks his skill set fits this defense. He said, I think this is a case where they could have grabbed him in the 5th round.
So is this when they go into the rooms?
That's not value.
Is that when so what scouting report came and said, this is a guy that we need to take 2nd round. We need to get this talent. We need him. I wonder what's going on in those meeting rooms when you think that was a Miller moment when you're like, you know what? You gave me this name, but you know what? Walking here, I'm gonna pick a different name.
Do you know what I use? I use this term all the time. I think it was the smartest guy in the room moment. I think that was Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia telling everybody that we're dumb. You don't know talent. We know talent. This guy fits our scheme. I don't care what you see on tape. We're going to plug him into Patricia's defense, and he's going to be a killer.
He's going to be a killer.
And
what happened? How did that work out?
Doesn't belong in the National Football League. I'm sorry, Jelani, if you're watching. If there are any Lions, I hope this year you prove me wrong. I've watched for 2 years. You don't belong in the National Football League. I'm sorry. Best of luck. I'm not being mean. I mean, just that his limitations have been on display. I mean, that's the way it is.
Are they playing him on the position?
I don't think so. I think he's got foot speed problems. Either you have that foot speed or you don't have that foot speed. They thought that he would be a perfect fit. For their defense. It hasn't worked. Steve said make or break for him. I've kind of made my decision. I think
This
it's
is
ever
year
going to
4
happen
for him right
him.
now. This would be year 4.
Year 3, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Is it year 3?
Year 3. Yeah, he was the 19 draft, so he had the 19 season and 20 season, and
What's the 19 draft?
I think it was 19, wasn't it?
I thought it was 18.
All right, hold on.
Look it up.
Let's talk amongst ourselves.
Let's talk amongst ourselves.
No, you know what? It's one of those things that
It's right there. It's right there. I remember the event vividly.
Yeah, it to me, Joique,
It was 19 or 18.
that is one of those things. 2019 draft, 43rd overall. 43rd. You cannot throw draft picks away. Not at 43. If you miss on a guy in the 5th round, you know what? That's when you say, we tried. We thought he'd be a good fit. Because that's where pretty much everybody had Jelani Tavai going, was the 5th round. If you miss in the 5th round, you know what? We tried. It's a 5th round. You can't miss at 43.
This is a smack in the face to the guys who went in the 4th and 5th that are actually playing well now. Smack in the face.
But that's what we're talking about when you talk about.
I don't get it.
No, you're smartest guy in the room.
Sean, I don't get it.
Joique, whether people...
I would undraft him and play longer than a lot of guys, right, who were drafted way higher than me, right? Guys way higher than me. I remember when I came out, you remember Jonathan Dreyer?
Yeah.
Was a 1st-round draft pick on a lot of mock drafts. He was number 1 on the list all the way up
Went to
until
the
the
Steelers,
combine.
right? Steelers?
I believe so.
Okay.
All the way up until the combine, where you have to strip down to your tights, right, and you walk on this stage.
The underwear Olympics.
Basically what it is. You have 500 coaches and GMs in there looking at you like a piece of meat. Oh, look at his build. Oh, he's an animal. When I tell you Jonathan Dreyer came in there with the dad bod, Sean, with the dad bod, he went from the 1st round to the 6th. Right? LeGarrette Blount, great talent. Should have been in the first 2 rounds. Should have been the first 2, but his off the field conduct dropped him down to the 6th round. Oh, that's how they devalue you. Oh, his character is in question.
He punched that guy. Remember that?
The guy.
Yeah, he punched a guy.
Punched the guy.
Yeah.
Right? His character, right? And then you have guys like, say, a Ben Tate came out. You remember Ben Tate? I think went to Auburn.
Oh,
Auburn.
yeah.
Animal. Nice.
He was on that damn good. Wasn't he on the Natty?
Yeah.
With Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think he was on the Natty, wasn't he?
I think he might have been there. Or 2010.
Maybe the year before.
About a year before.
Maybe the year before.
Yeah.
All right, now I got to look that up. That's going to bother me.
That's
all right,
good.
but go ahead.
But you have all these guys, right, who came in, and you have guys who went undrafted, who had longer careers, but it doesn't mean anything. But it's just like a slap in the face, a guy like Danny Woodhead, 11 years in the league.
Year before,
yeah, it was year before. But you have guys like that went to Division II who didn't get drafted high, went to go to different teams, and teams don't know how to utilize them, and it's just a smack. It's disgusting how they just treat the lower tier guys. I hate it.
You know what the problem is, and we talk about it.
Who's in the scouting department?
We talk about this all the time about Lombardi. Okay. No, don't. You know what the problem is, Joique? I think it's guys trying to show everybody that they're the smartest guy in the room. I really do. Lombardi wanted to show everybody that his system was foolproof. It didn't matter. He could plug anybody into his system. His system was so great, Joique, that his system could turn you into Deuce McAllister, could turn Matthew into Drew Brees, and it's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Can't turn. Hey.
And the draft is the same way.
I'm gonna turn this cup of water into some wine.
Like Joique, can I give you an example? And I hope. Oh, are we gonna look at the Magic Conch again? The Magic Diet Mountain Dew can. It's very murky today.
I'm gonna turn this into wine.
Joique, can I give you a perfect example of about it working the flip side? I could love Joique Bell. I could absolutely love Joique Bell. And I could walk into my draft war room and tell everybody, listen to me right now. Joique Bell is a National Football League player. I don't think Joique Bell is a Pro Bowler. Joique Bell is a guy that could have an 8, 9, 10-year career, no problem. What do you want Joique Bell to do? He can do it. But you know what? Now, this is where, Joique, it's unfair to you, but you know this is the reality of the game. With your skill set and what you turned out to be in the National Football League, should you have been drafted? 1,000% you should have been drafted. But let me tell you the dirty, honest truth of it, Joique.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have drafted you. Or if I would have drafted you, you know what I would have done? What? I would have taken you in the 7th round. Because I don't have to.
I'm glad.
Why would I draft you if nobody else is going to draft you? Why would I do that?
Right. You know, and it's funny.
And that sucks to you, but that's smart business for me.
It actually doesn't suck, right? And so I'm happy what happened, right? If you are not going, say, 5th round or down, and sometimes even 5th round, you rather go undrafted, honestly.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right. You rather go undrafted. For people who don't understand. And fans, this is something that fans, the average fan won't know, right? The only thing cool about going 5th, 6th, 7th round, and I'm going to say really 6th and 7th round, is them calling your name on television. That's the cool part. And
most of the time you don't even get to see it. That's what sucks.
Yeah, the grimy part is when the draft is over and the teams are calling you on the phone and you have 2 minutes to make a decision on if you want to come to this team or not. Because now you should have already have in your head that if I don't get drafted, what team would I want to go to, right? But a lot of that is also dictated on, all right, who did that team just draft, all right? And so, remind you, I gave you the story about the Patriots giving me a call and me not going there. I ended up signing with Buffalo. They had just signed a running back in the 1st round, C.J. Spiller. They still had a 1st rounder with Marshawn Lynch, and they had a veteran in Fred Jackson, who at the time I think he was a starter.
Everybody kept trying to bury Fred, and he just kept winning the job.
He just
loved him. Loved Freddie.
Fred is a monster. I actually just talked to Fred probably a couple of days ago.
Can you tell him how much I appreciate him?
Yeah, for sure.
Seriously,
a guy that 3rd round. I mean, he went to a D3 school, played in NFL Europe, came back, made a name for himself. Like, inspiring story. I loved everything about what he represented, and his story kind of reminded me of me. And that's why when he would teach me certain things, it stuck with me because of the body of work that I've seen that came with his play.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say it's so important to have guys that are veteran in the room with guys that we bring in at a high draft pick. You need people in there to kind of help guide these players that we trust, that we believe in. So, what is that, Art? You have something to say?
No, they're having like a parade out there. It's kind of fun. Are you watching? Like behind you, Art? I don't know what's going on.
I know it's very distracting.
There literally is a parade.
No.
Back there
Let me tell you exactly what's going on. They're doing TikToks out there.
Oh, is that what it is?
It's a distraction.
They're doing TikToks.
Yeah, it's a distraction, all right, Art.
Look at it.
It's a distraction.
It's TikToks. It's TikToks for the business.
I'm trying to produce a show. I don't need 3 beautiful ladies behind me when I'm trying. I have a family at home.
Are they beautiful? I didn't notice that.
No comment.
No, I didn't notice.
I'm a married man.
Control yourself, Art. Control yourself.
Clearly, I have 5 children. 7 children with stepchildren. I can't control myself.
I wish that we could.
Pull-out game weak.
No, listen. All jokes aside, folks, like at home, I wish I could turn the camera around because
they can see. They can see it.
Can they see it behind?
They can see it on Art. Yeah, can they see behind Art? Yeah.
Oh, you can kind of see it. Yeah, you can. You can see. There they go again. I don't know what. But you look at now. There's a piggyback ride. It looks like Art's. It looks like Art's trying to tackle Joique as he's going in for another touchdown.
It will never be a piggyback.
Oh, I know that. It'd be a piggyback ride. He'd just
it
ride
will
on his
happen
back.
one day.
It'll be a stiff arm to the face.
I could run a touchdown around you easily.
It'll be a stiff arm to the face. Knock those glasses off.
You know who gave pretty big? I'm going to give him a shout out. A Livonia guy, Altown, Livonia Churchill, Romello Brown.
Oh, Romello.
He used to give piggyback rides in the GLIAC. He did.
He's a big boy.
People would jump on his back, and there'd be like 5 guys on his back, and Romello's just running into the end zone. And I was like, he led the league in piggyback rides because you just could not bring him down.
I could do that easily. Joique, get on my back. Let me take you for a ride. Let Papa Art take you for a spin.
All right, man, quit disrespecting me before I come behind that glass.
You come out and give me a best friend hug.
Lady Jane's, Lady Jane's, how could you stay focused? It's just there's a parade behind us, for goodness sake. And then there's food, and you know how I am with food. I see food and... listen, with the average price for an ounce of Michigan recreational dispensaries coming in at $300, why not just grow your own? With just one light, you can pull down up to 36 ounces each harvest. Do the math, and then go see our guys at Grow Green. They have everything you need to start growing today and the knowledge to make sure that you crush it. Mention Woodward Sports for a free T-shirt. We're going to talk a little Pistons when we come back. And
where
also,
to get that shirt?
We have an extended, a couple of really cool videos today.
We do. I'm excited about them today.
And I want you guys to talk about it a little bit when we come back so we can hype it up and have people join us. The last segment, we have a couple. I'm going to say it again, and anybody that knows me, I'm not a PC human being. I'm just not. I don't care about being PC. But I am interested in the African-American history because we were never taught it when we were in school. Never. I don't know the first damn thing about it. And I think that's strange. It's really strange. And then, you talk to somebody like Joique, and they weren't really taught it in school either. And that's like, what am I missing? Why was there a disconnect there? So a couple cool things coming up. We'll talk about that. Don't go anywhere. Glad you could join us wherever you may be right here on Woodward Sports.
All right, we got 30 seconds, guys. Yeah, so I'll set. Okay. Morning, Art. Morning, D-Mac.
What up? What up? What up? Glad you could join us on Tuesday. Joique, you know what? Very quickly, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask for your take on what transpired Sunday. You weren't here. I don't know how much of it you saw. Michigan, Ohio State was just flipping epic. That was an epic college basketball game. And it's part of the reason, here I go again, stop me if this sounds familiar, it's part of the reason why I like college basketball more than I like the NBA. That was a great watch on Saturday.
Great watch. What made it so great? Not only that it was a good game, but it was who?
It was Michigan and Ohio State. That has something to do with it.
Exactly.
Absolutely it does.
Right.
No question about it. What a great game. It was funny. I said this to Terry yesterday. Juwan Howard is doing everything that Jim Harbaugh was supposed to be doing. And they're not talking about it. They're actually doing it. And that's what I always try to convey to my Michigan friends out there. Quit telling us what you're going to do. Quit telling us that Harbaugh is he's gonna win multiple national championships, not Big Ten championships. Go out there and win games and just conduct your business. And Juwan Howard is so far ahead of the curve. I think, not only in my opinion, but so many others' opinions. It's a great story. It's like it's hard not to root for a guy like Juwan as well. He's just a good dude, and I always like the guys when. People, if you remember, people laugh when Juwan got brought in, right? People, oh my gosh, you're handing over the reins to your program after you had all the success with John Beilein to a guy that's never been a head coach.
You like bricks?
How's that taste now?
Yeah.
Right? Beautiful. It's great. This is this is a fun story.
You know what's funny? It's funny. I can sit here and listen to Sean tell his stories, like just the way that you can just paint the picture, right? I felt like I was there. Like
Did you really? Oh,
not
nice.
watching it. I felt like I was there, like at the game.
Sports are passion. I don't understand why guys. I've never understood how a guy can talk about sports and not get fired up. And I know there's some snobs in my business that have called me too emotional. Well, what are sports? It's emotion. It's fandom. It's yelling. It's booing. I'm not a booer, though. Did you know that? I'm not. No, seriously, I'm not a booer. I don't boo.
I boo at bad calls.
When I was a kid.
You know what I feel? You know what I love doing? I love going to my son basketball games, and I'm that dad, right? I don't really, I'm in the middle. Like something good happens, I cheer, but I really get fired up when a ref makes a bad call, right? And it's not like me. It's more so joking, like take your glasses off. You're missing a good game, ref. That was a foul.
See.
So that's.
But do you boo?
No, I don't. Boo.
Yeah, I don't. But do you know what I do all the time? This is my son loves it. I wish Jack, if you're watching, he's already doing it right now. I don't know where it started, how it started. I take my hand and go like this. And he thinks that's the funniest thing on earth.
You do what?
I take my hand like this. I don't know why it started, okay? But the bad call happens. We're at a game. We're watching on television. And I go like this. And my son just laughs. He goes, Dad, what is that doing? I don't know.
Makes me feel better.
Like that, like an old man. That's my thing.
Is that something your dad used to do when you?
No, my dad was my dad
was a booer.
Yeah, he was a booer and he was a yeller.
Yeah.
When he got ticked. Oh, he used to turn this crap off. I can't tell you how many games when I was a kid I had to go run down the hall because he thought this game was over or that game was over. He was the game's over right now after like a bad play. Here, you know what? One of the most famous plays in college football, right? The Hail Mary by Doug Flutie. My dad was convinced the game was over. And so I had to run down the hall. Turn on the television, and I saw the tail end of the play where they caught the touchdown. And I started jumping up and down in my room because I couldn't believe what I saw. And he goes, they didn't score a touchdown. You're faking. Then click, I heard the TV going on the front. He's that guy. I can't tell you how many games he's turned off where, this game's over. You know the Lions are down to the Cowboys. We can go do something else with your day. This game's over.
You know what's funny? It was like that. My uncle's like that. I think I told you this story. I went to the U of M MSU football game when I was getting recruited out of high school. And this particular game it's a big rivalry game. It's at U of M. U of M guest there. My uncle takes me to the game. We drive up to Ann Arbor. Did I ever tell you the story? Seriously. So we get there.
What year was it?
04, the triple overtime.
Oh, Braylon Edwards.
Yes, the triple overtime. Yeah. So we
Edwards!
we'll get him on the show. You can let him know how much you don't
like
him.
He knows.
Yeah.
Trust me, he knows.
So fast forward, we get there. I'm with my host. She takes all the athletes down to take us down to the field. It's me and my uncle. It gets to about the middle of the third quarter. They're down by 28, something like that. Down by 28. My uncle said, you know what, I'm going to start heading back to the car, get the car warm. When the game over, just, meet me at the car. He had a bad hip, so he didn't want to get caught in the crowd. And so they end up coming back, and they're at the end of the first overtime. My uncle calls me, said, what's going on? Like, the game should be over. Like, why aren't you coming back to the car? I said, they're in overtime. What? Hold on 1 second. He gets on he turns on the radio. He finds the station. They are in overtime. Oh, he was salty. And so when it got to the the third overtime, my hostess came back to us. She said, "Listen, when the game is over, we're not going to be able to keep up with all the guests, all the recruits. So when you guys are done, when we're rush the field, meet us at the tunnel. Make sure you have your badge on. They'll let you guys through." And when I tell you, this is one of the coolest moments. After they won the game, I was on the field. I was talking to Stephen Braxton at the time. I said, man, you guys pulled it up. He said, we have to do it for you, little homie. It hit me on the chest. I'm like, I can't wait to come here. I can't wait. I'm excited.
I've been with lots of Big Ten championships.
Oh, yeah. And so I found out they was bringing in Kevin Grady and Antonio Bass, and they brought in another running back from.
Maybe that's part of the reason why they haven't won anything since then.
Yeah. They had Michael Hart the year before.
04 is the last time they won a share of a championship. Mm-hmm. Coincidence? I think not.
So we get to the tunnel. I show them my badge. They let me through. And then the energy in that locker room was everything I thought it would be. And then listening to Coach Lloyd Carr address the team, it was as if I was a part of that win. I felt like I was part of the team. And I'll never forget that moment, right? I'll never forget that moment. And I remember I was going into my. This is my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. It was my junior year. It was my junior year, and so it was amazing, man.
Steve said Beeline was Jim Caldwell of U of M. No, Beeline went to 2 championship games. Caldwell would have lost in the first round every time.
Oh my God.
You walked right into that, dude.
Oh my God.
You walked. I mean, you couldn't have set me up. You put it on a tee. That was awesome. Thank you for that.
But speaking of your team, MSU, they have your boys at Illinois. Oh, well, they have Illinois.
You know, at least I'm going to be consistent about this. I think it's a bunch of junk to blame the season on COVID. I think it's a bunch of joke. I do. COVID has affected Michigan maybe even more so than Michigan State. How's Michigan doing? And I hear a lot of people. I don't hear Tom Izzo, in fairness to him.
I mean, Michigan. I mean, they had some killers.
They shut down for 3 weeks, for goodness sake. You know what I mean?
They did.
If anybody should be using COVID as an excuse, and I think one of the things that
I think it might be helping out. I mean, if you look at this. Let's look at Michigan real quick. Hunter Dickinson, top scorer, 255 points, 15 points per game. You know what his average from field goal is? 63.9%.
He's been sick.
It's ridiculous.
He's been sick.
That's ridiculous.
Do you know, here, this is...
Freshman of the year?
Oh, but yeah.
Freshman of the year?
He's won player of the freshman of the week so many times this year already. It's insane. I mean, it's, you know, here's the thing, and this bothers me because I heard some people in the media, not Michigan themselves, to be fair. I never heard Jim Harbaugh use this excuse, but some of the usual suspects around here, some of the excuse makers, blamed COVID for Michigan football's down season. Well, you know what? COVID affected everybody. I'm sorry. That's really a bad excuse, and I've heard some people do that about Michigan State basketball. No, I don't buy that excuse. COVID has affected Michigan maybe more adversely.
Yeah, that's true. But this is not that situation where you say, I guess when you're dealing with MSU and Michigan, since they're both in Michigan, then they're going through the exact same thing.
That's exactly it.
They're going through the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Now, if you're talking
It's
about
a bull
Michigan
crap excuse.
And if you're talking about Michigan and Ohio State, their laws there or how they handling COVID in that state might be different from how we handle it here in Michigan. That's the only. But you have MSU and U of M, there's no excuse.
No, it's and you know what? And that's why. Look, and by the way, I'm not getting in line saying fire Izzo or anything like that. It's a down year.
It's just a down year.
It's a down year, and it's going to happen. It happens to everybody.
Now, I tell you this: if them wanting to get rid of Tom Izzo has been in the back of their minds for quite some time, and they have a legitimate replacement for him, then this would be the time to do it, right? But I don't think you get rid of a legendary coach like Tom Izzo.
No, he's going to write out when he wants to write out. But I'm sorry, I've heard that excuse used way too much, both through football season to excuse away. Because I've said this before about Jim Harbaugh, okay? Jim Harbaugh's been good at Michigan. Not great, not championship. He's been good until this year. That team this year was awful. And people should be worried moving forward, quite frankly, because it was that bad, okay? And I'm going to say it again. He wasn't hired, and he's not paid to be good. It was not the rebuild that a lot of people made it out to be. So, of course, people are going to say, what the heck, okay? And that's, you know, but Jim Harbaugh overall has been good at Michigan. I think that's his problem. He's just been good. You know, he's had good results up until this past year.
Yeah, he's had
good results.
Yeah.
They're good.
But that's the reason he got that type of contract with the stipulations.
Oh, absolutely it is.
But even with his stipulations, though, it'll get him back to what he should be making based off his past contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just holding him accountable.
I
like the accountability.
I think he's gone within 2 years. I'd be willing to bet you or anybody else. I think Jim Harbaugh's gone in 2 years.
When you say gone, you mean out of coaching NCAA
No,
ball,
he's
or
going to go
to
back to the
NFL?
NFL.
NFL. Okay.
I would be willing to bet anybody. Juwan will steal some of the better Michigan recruits from Izzo. Steve, he already is. Juwan's recruiting classes have been unbelievable. Now the biggest thing, we'll wait and see if Amani Bates, the stud out of Ypsilanti.
Out of Ipsy?
Yeah, we'll wait and see if he eventually ends up at Michigan State. I don't know.
He's going to Michigan. No, actually, no, I want him to go to MSU.
It sounds like he's going to. We'll see. Is he a one and done? He might be a one and done.
Yeah, he's one and done.
Yeah, he might be a one and done. But no, absolutely. I mean, Juwan is his recruiting classes have been unbelievable.
Stays healthy. He does what he's doing right now in high school. He's one of those players. I think if he left now, if the rules were like they were back in 03, 02, I think he would have been going straight to the NBA out of high school.
Somebody said the S word in a text. I don't stick. We have this Woodward Sports group text, and half the time they're I don't even know what's being said. I just laugh because but somebody just mentioned shawarma in a text, and my face,
Oh my God.
all of a sudden I got hyped up. Hey. No, but and to the point, Joique, is Juwan Howard is already further ahead than anybody thought he was going to be at this point in time. How good are they going to be next year? How good are they going to be 2 years from now? And this is what, in my opinion, okay, whether people want to admit this or not, I really feel Urban Meyer was the best thing that happened to this conference from a football standpoint. You know why? It made everybody look at the way they conduct business and go, if we don't get our shop in order, we're going to get our ass kicked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really? I mean, that's what happened. And now a couple teams answered that bell. You watch Penn State do it. You watch Michigan do it a little bit. You really watch Michigan State do it for a span of time there. Always Wisconsin. They're always in it since Barry Alvarez. But this conference needed a wake-up call. We were. You got to remember, guys like me were still yelling at people 10 years ago. We aren't what we think we are.
Yeah.
We go get our ass kicked. We're not winning national championships. Knock it off. More often than not, we're going to getting our butts kicked. Not when our 2-win or 3-win or 3-loss team loses or beats your. That's what we've done in Big Ten land. We've always gone, hooray! Our 3-loss team is better than your 3-loss team. No. You know what you do? You talk about beating their best. Our best beating your best. That's what you're measured by.
That's what we're measured by. Real quick, I know you said you wanted me and Art to kind of harp on this before we took our next break. Are we behind the break now?
Yeah, like in the next minute or two, we need to go to break.
In the next minute or two?
Paul said, by the way, you can't fire a coach who went to 22 straight NCAA tournament appearances. Yeah. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. Yeah. What I am saying is do not use COVID as an excuse. It was a down year. It happens.
It happens.
Happens to everybody. Right? I mean,
it doesn't happen to Tom Izzo, though. It doesn't happen to him.
Other than Nick Saban, because he's not human, at least in college, so it seems. A down season for Nick Saban is 2 losses. But I hope you understand the point. No, nobody is advocating Tom Izzo is going anywhere or should go anywhere. But I don't buy the excuse that, COVID really screwed them. No, that's a lame excuse. Stop it. It's a down year. Didn't work this year. All the things that he's used in the past to motivate his team didn't happen this year. Happens. Yeah. That's the way it goes.
Well, just to harp on it really quick, thank you everyone for tapping into Baligian and Bell. Make sure you check us out on YouTube. Check us out on our YouTube Live at Woodward Sports Network. You can check us out on our Facebook, Woodward Sports Network, or you can download the app at WSN Live, and it has all our streaming, all our shows. Tap in. I want to talk about it real quick before we go to break. When we come back from break, we're going to talk about some things that I talked about in the past about the housing market and the systemic racism that goes on that prevents African Americans from purchasing or building wealth with real estate. So when we come back, we'll get into it. And I'm gonna answer a couple questions from my comment section from Instagram to kind of raise awareness on stupidity. All right, tap in. Baligian and Bell. I'm Joique Bell. That's Sean Baligian.
Hey, it's Joey from Woodward Sports, and I am here in downtown Fenton at Bridge Street Exchange. This place has so many amazing things for guys. And ladies, this is the hidden spot that you got to come check out. I'm talking thorough good boots, best boots ever. They have barware. They got the Stormy Cromer hats. They got Carhartt hats, a huge Carhartt selection. They even got Snoop Dogg underwear. So go check them out, bridgestreetexchange.com, and use the code word WSN for 15% off.
Yeah. It's on you.
Is it on me?
It's on you. It's
no,
on your
you know what? I'm watching this commercial and I was wondering if that's like Stick's Basement, because Joey, like during the break, you might see some of the commercials. Joey's hawking some of the great Woodward sports gear. I like this cap. Obviously, you can tell that. So I was like, is that Superstore in Stick's Basement? But it's not Stick's Basement.
Yeah.
But for all your needs, make sure you check it out. Go to woodwardsports.com. It's pretty cool to see some people out there. I kid you not, my daughter and I went to the grocery store. That's when you're a guy like me, grocery stores bring joy because I get to go pick up things for barbecues and stuff like that.
You get to pick up food.
Absolutely.
You get to pick
and
up food.
we were at the grocery store in Northville, and I kid you not, my daughter pointed it out to me. She goes, "Dad, somebody's wearing something Woodward Sports," and I was like, "That's pretty cool."
That's pretty cool.
And I almost went up to him and said, "Hey, do you watch Woodward Sports?
Oh, don't
Have
be
you
that
ever
guy.
watched the Baligian and Bell show?
Don't be that guy, Sean. Don't be that guy.
I'm Sean Baligian. How are you?
Hey.
Would you like to take a selfie for Joique? Would you? Would you? Yeah. Yeah.
All right, shut up.
I can sign your 6-pack. Come on now. No, I didn't do that.
You didn't do that. I'm glad you didn't.
Hell to the no.
All right, try to get it all in real quick. So every day we do a Black History in 2 minutes. I had a segment before where I kind of harped on the redlining. And if you guys are familiar with redlining, where the government basically put African Americans in one area, which they call redlining, we call it the ghetto. We kind of harped on the school system and how the school system is funded by property taxes. And we have low value properties, then you're not going to have really good funding for your schools. So we kind of harped on that, and we had some comments. Can you bring up that comment we had where the guy said, well, it's all about accountability. Bust your butt and move out the ghetto. It's to be everyone's goal. Wealth, he said, is given, but wealth isn't given. It's earned. Nobody should free or have free shit. This whole thing was ignorant. Bust your butt. Hold your children accountable for their actions. See to it that they pay attention in school and get good grades. Voila. You'll find yourself out the ghetto. It ain't rocket science. It's accountability. I couldn't even respond to this ignorant shit. It was just disrespectfully. That's what I said. And when people do work hard and they do manage to, and this is back in the day, that when they did manage to make enough money to get out of the hood, if you guys go to the next video, this is what happened to our children, our youth, when they used to go to these certain neighborhoods. And so if you look through the video, you'll see some kids riding their bikes, some like African American kids riding their bikes, just riding their bike through their neighborhood, and they're getting harassed. And so this is how it was back then, right? And now you can sit here and say, well, it's not like that anymore. Well, there's other things that prevents African Americans from gaining wealth in this country, and we're harping that as well. Now take a look at this video.
Like, knock it off. It's so...
You better turn around, y'all.
Into my Instagram live. If you guys leave here and go to YouTube and type in Woodward Sports Network, you'll see our live, and the video that we're showing, you can be able to see it on there as well.
We were riding down this block, and
Live
white people start saying, "Get out of here, nigga."
It's live right
you know,
now.
Get out of my neighborhood.
You
Don't
can
come
go on
to
Twitter
this neighborhood. Then they start punching, hitting on her.
It's live there as well.
Throwing rocks. Because we were in their
a lot
neighborhood.
of good content
We went
around
on a
Black
bike hike to
history.
McDonald's. We didn't mean to
every
bother anybody. We had a nice
week
parade
every day, I'm sorry, with
so we went
2
down there
minutes
to see what was
Black
happening.
History in 2
All
minutes.
right. I mean,
So
we
if
didn't
you guys
bother
have time,
anybody. We weren't
just shoot
looking
over
for
really
trouble.
quick.
I never
over
even
to,
know people around here were like that. I've
Woodward
never
Sports Network
experienced
on
anything like
Facebook,
this in my
Woodward
life.
Sports Network on Twitter.
What happened to you? Nothing happened to me, but this little boy, short boy about my size, or little short, and picked up a rock, and he was in the front of all these tall, hunky.
Okay,
but he threw the rock. He tried to hit my sister, but he almost hit me about that much away from me. And I was sure wish he had hit me with that rock. I would pick up the rock right next to me and hit him right dead in his face. They always say niggas are doing everything. They always say we're doing everything, right? Every time the white people come down the block, we don't push them out their neighborhood and throw rocks and start hitting them. We don't bother the white people around our neighborhood, but when we get in a white neighborhood, they just push us out. Yeah. Everybody.
Crazy, right?
Yeah,
Crazy.
It just breaks your heart.
It
man.
breaks
It's just,
your heart.
I don't know, but, like human beings, man. Like, what the heck is wrong with you?
It breaks your heart, and then
That-
this is major trauma to them at a young age. And from the time you're born to the age of 12, the things you learn at that age are some of the things that you take with you for the rest of your life.
It's self-worth.
Yeah.
It's just
And very smart and intelligent young ladies and young kids, and even the way that they spoke with the cameras. One girl said, "I can't hate them because they learned it from somewhere." She pretty sure her parents had some bearing on the way that they conducted themselves, and so a lot of respect for that young lady. And at certain times, at what point do we say enough is enough, and you defend yourself, and then we're the bad guys when we defend ourselves.
that's the Joique. That's the it. I have a quote that I use with my kids all the time. Do not become what you detest.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be people that push you in life.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be people that do horrible things to you.
Right.
But the second that you respond like them, they beat you.
Right.
And that's what I tell my kids all the time. Do not be. But boy, dear Lord in heaven knows it's hard to turn the other cheek, isn't it?
It's difficult. I'll give you that. It's difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have. It's hard to change the world. It's easier to change yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to change yourself. And the only way you can change the world is by changing yourself. It's the easiest way to change the world, rather. And so, how can I change other people' mindsets and the way they move, right? How can I change that? And that becomes the question that we have to ask. Is it our job to make you change? Or do we continue to live our life as who we are and you see the greatness in us? It was a clip of a guy who entered the KKK. He entered the KKK, had a message. He was I think a journalist or an interviewer. And so he set up a meeting with the leader of the KKK, right? And the guy comes in, his secretary, the woman who set the meeting for him, reached out to him. He came in, they met the first time. He had a security guard with him. And when they sat down and talked, people had been telling him, "Don't you mess with that man, he'll kill you. Don't you mess with him." All right? But he met with them anyway. And they met time after time after time, to where it got to a point where he stopped coming around him with the security guard, and they would just start having conversations, to a point to where he started to invite him over to his house to sit down and have dinner, to a point to where eventually he left the KKK as a leader, and he said everything that was taught about black people was wrong. And this guy did this with I think single-handedly, he probably helped 60 members leave the KKK, and like another 200 plus total. That was at that time. I don't know where it's at now, right? And so just to revert back to the question that we were talking about earlier, when the guy made that comment about work hard, get money, and get out the ghetto, but you go somewhere nice, like these kids were in a nice area, they weren't in the ghetto, and still they're being harassed, right? So why would they want to leave one place and go to another when it's the same result, right? It's the same result. Now let's fast forward. And like that was then, this is now. Well, there's a lot of discrimination in the way that our houses are appraised in the housing industry. And we both know that one of the quickest ways to build wealth or generational wealth for your family is through real estate and properties, which I talked about in one of my past segments. And when we try to do that, this is what happens. You have that clip?
Bought the home off market
So
from another black family hoping to make homeownership a reality for a young black couple. After moving into the home built in the 1960s, the Austins staged major renovations, adding an entire floor and more than 1,000 square feet of space, along with a deck, new floors, a fireplace, and new appliances.
And so they took this home, all right, got this home appraised. After they put $400,000 into the home, and when they got it appraised, it only appraised for $900,000. The lady who did the home, who did the appraising, was a older white lady, and so they fought against it, fought back. They went back to the lending company, asked for a second appraisal, and they got it. But this time they got more creative. They had a white lady place. I guess they had a white lady come in and act as if she was them.
Yeah.
Right. She agreed to it. They were good friends. She came over. She brought pictures over, put up around the house, so like the appraisers can know, like, okay, this is her house. The new appraisal came in. The new appraisal, and it went from $900,000 to $1.5 million.
Jeez, oh Pete.
All right. Within a couple weeks span of getting this appraisal, how is that not systemic racism? What was the variables that lady came back with and said, oh, your house is only worth $900, only $100,000 worth more than what you bought it for, even after you added $400,000 to it? So these are the things that goes on to where we get put in these situations to where we work our butts off, we earn enough money to go buy our first home, and then now when we try to get wealth where we can go back to the bank and do a refinance, pull money out and go buy more investments, this is what happens, right? And it's sad to see, right? And so for our next segment, or for our next video, our Black History in 2 minutes, we're going to be talking about the housing market.
Art, is this the end of the show, or do we come back after this?
Yeah,
one?
no, this is a wrap. So this is Black History in 2 minutes. It's the series today is about 40 acres and a mule, and yeah.
All right, outstanding. Joique, pleasure having you back. Make sure you check
it's
this out.
It's not the same without me, man.
What's that?
It's not the same without me, is it?
No.
It's not the same without you either. You make the show. Sean, you make
You're
the
gonna
show.
find out at the end of March. I want you guys to know I'm out of here, baby. I'm gone for a week.
I don't worry. Sticks.
You and Art.
It's gonna be me, Art, Stickles gonna come in. We're gonna have 1 or 2 more guys.
I'll come back. I won't have a job. Are you kidding me? I know how that works. I know how that works. Listen, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks to Stick doing triple time. You have no idea how much Stick does around here. Seriously, respect. Tip of the cap. Joique, Art, Fish. Most of all, thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
The months following the Civil War and the start of Reconstruction offered African Americans in the South hope for equality. It also offered the possibility of owning land. Within months, African Americans would be betrayed by a harsh reality. You probably heard the phrase 40 acres and a mule. Here's what happened. In January 1865, a meeting in Savannah, Georgia, between Union military leader General William Tecumseh Sherman and a group of 20 black ministers resulted in a plan to redistribute confiscated and abandoned Confederate land from South Carolina to Florida. They called the land Sherman's Reserve. Newly freed slaves would be allocated 40 acres of land along with a mule. The phrase, which became well known even then, spread quickly. The plan had the potential to revolutionize race relations in the South and the economic future of the African American community.
The significance about formerly enslaved being given the land that they had actually worked was that they would be able to generate wealth as well as create wealth generationally.
By the summer of 1865, thousands of black families had settled on portions of the Sherman Reserve and were excited to plot their futures. But later that year, as part of his Reconstruction Plan, actually intended to appease the former Confederacy, President Andrew Johnson abruptly canceled the order, giving the land back to its previous owners.
The United States had the opportunity to make it possible for the formerly enslaved people to be economically independent, and the country failed to do it.
That initial meeting more than 100 years ago between General Sherman and Savannah's leading black ministers was historic. At least for a brief moment in history, the opinion of black leaders had led directly to a radical public policy initiative. Remarkably, over a century and a half later, on June 19, 2019, the House of Representatives held a hearing on H.R. 40, a bill named in honor of the famous phrase, 40 acres and a mule. The bill would establish a commission to study the concept of reparations for slavery and Jim Crow segregation, including the merits of a formal apology by the United States government.